And thank you so much for staying with us. Now, poet and author Zama Madinana is telling the story of contemporary South Africa through poetry. His collection of poems is titled 94, as you can see, and they tell South Africa's journey of love, corruption and lack of accountability. The book also focuses on township life. He joins us in studio now. Thank you so much for your time, Zama. And 1994, I think we can all look back with nostalgia. You know, the serpent cues, if you will, of the democratic elections that we had embarked on. What does this book capture from that moment?
You know, it's been almost 30 years since we attained our freedom. But if you can check the quality of life, more especially in the black township, hasn't improved much. You know, we still don't have access to clean water, for instance. You know, we're faced with load shedding. You know, people were promised better life for all, you know, but when they stand up and demand a living wage, you know, government treats them badly, you know, they're brutalized by police, you know.
The dream of a better life for all, what we were promised, to say, you know, we'll actually redress the injustices of the past and give you that which is promised so you can eat within the wealth of the nation and everything that it brings forward. But I think it also speaks of the spatial development. I mean, I'm from a township, Guatemala Springs, where even 30 years down the line, a lot has changed, but you know, little is inspiring as well. I mean, number one, the alcohol abuse, teenage pregnancy,
violence. You know, there's so much violence in the townships. You know, the abuse of drugs and alcohol. You know, it's also a big thing that needs to be addressed. You know, yeah. In the spaces that we find ourselves in, if you take a township like Soweto, I suppose that is maybe not a fair comparison to smaller townships, but because of the history and the alumni or the legacy of apartheid,
the legacy of apartheid, but also the leaders that emanate from there, how it's been able to become a tourist attraction, there is still hope in townships.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. One of my favorite writers, Ben Ogre, who is a Nigerian writer, he says, our future is greater than our past, you know. So we just need to have that hope, you know.
Yeah, and for our viewers who may not be familiar with your work, so this is a collection of your work or your poems, and it's titled 94. It will be launched on the 2nd of June.
At a place called Thank You Bar. It's a beautiful space, a lot of arts, antique. We're launching on the 2nd of June at 6:30 in the evening.
So as a wordsmith, you also incorporate other genres. You have music or live instruments in your performances. Just talk us through what it is that one can experience in that space.
Yeah, I'll be supported by a few poets, as well as live bands like the Outball, Tribe of Sakumzi. It should just be a night of music and poetry.
And as a form of expression in dealing with our social, I suppose, challenges, you know, who do you draw inspiration from? I know the likes of Don Matera. We even had Professor Pitika Gantuli recently, who's also a prolific poet. But who inspired you?
A lot of people, like Mafika Kwala, Ben Ogre, Steve Biko, you know, Steve Biko embraced this psychological freedom, you know. He says the most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed, you know. He believes so much in psychological freedom. So those are the people that inspire me, you know?
Would you say yours is more a social, or is it political, social-political expression?
I'll say it's a social-political, you know,
and it's not just a form of entertainment, because sometimes we take it for granted that, you know, when one is a poet, it's more inclined towards entertainment or, you know, softer issues, but yours is really going into the core.
To conscientize people, you know, to educate people, you know, and address issues that are so important, you know.
What gives you hope?
What gives me hope? It's young people, you know. It's young people, and our past as well, because come from a very terrible past. You know.
Now, a very conscious young man, of course. Thank you so much, Zama, for joining us. They will be performing in a little bit. The book is called 94 by Zama Madinana, and it will be launched in Maboneng.
Maboneng, the place called Thank You Bar.
Thank You Bar.
Yes.
Thank You Bar. So if you can make your way, if you're in and around Johannesburg, make sure not to miss that. And on the cello, we have Reggie Dace, who will be performing with Zama in a bit. We'll see you shortly.